Good day, folks. Today we are going to talk about indices and logarithm. But we are starting with what we call indices. Indices. Now, when we talk of indices, what does it mean? Now, when we talk of indices, they are variables or numbers with exponents. So, indices are variables or numbers with what? Exponents. So now let's look at the notation for indices. Indices can be written as a raised to the power n, or you can also write it a raised to the power 3. So these are example of what? Indices, or the notation of what? Indices. Now let's proceed. The a over here is called base. A is called base, and then the exponent, the n over here is called exponent. You can also call it index. You can also call it what? Power. So these are the names that we can call the notation over there. Now let's look at one example. If we are being given a raised to the power 3, we can write it as a times a times a. The same thing applies to 3 raised to the power 4 can also be written as well. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So you could see that we have expanded the indices in this word form. So indices are being written in this word form. Now, indices is one of the topic that has law. So we are going to go through the laws of what? Indices. So let's look at the laws of indices. Laws of indices. With regards to the indices, we have 3 laws of indices. The first one has got to do with what we call product law. Product law. Now, what does the product law say? The product law states that whenever the base are the same and they are multiplying, we add the exponent. For instance, if you have a raised to the power n times a raised to the power n, what do? We multiply, we add the exponent. So we are going to get a raised to the power n plus what? N. Now let me bring it down for us to understand the reason why we had this n plus what? N. If we are being given a raised to the power 2 times a raised to the power 3, we can expand a raised to the power 2 in this form. A times what? A. Then times this a raised to the power 3. No, we can also write as a times a times a. Now, don't forget that we have already established the fact that whenever we have a times a times a times a times a, we can count the number of a's and then represent it by one letter. So we are going to get a raised to the power 5. So this one can be written as well, a raised to the power 5. That's the reason why we normally say whenever the base are the same and they are multiplying, we add what? The exponents what? Together. Now let's move on to the next law. The next law, we call it what? Quotient law. Quotient law. What does this law say? This law is opposite to the product what? Law. The law says that whenever the base are the same and they are dividing, we subtract what? The exponent. So we are going to use the same example. So if you have a raised to the power n divided by a raised to the power n, what do? Since the base are the same, we subtract what? The exponent. So we are going to get a raised to the power n minus what? N. Now let's look at the example. If we are being given a raised to the power 3 divided by a raised to the power 2. This a raised to the power 3 raised to the power 2 can be written as a raised to the power 3 over a raised to the power 2. Now when we expand it, we are going to get a times a, which is, and this one to a times what? A. So now let's do the calculation and see. So a goes to a will cancel this one, a will cancel this one. So it will left with what? A raised to the power what? 1. That's the reason why we are saying that whenever we have a raised to the power 3 divided by a exponent 2, what do? If the base are the same, we subtract. So we are going to get a 3 minus what? 1, which will give us a raised to the power what? 1. And that is another law. So with the quotient law, whenever you have, whenever the base are the same, we normally what? Subtract what? The exponent. Now the third one, we have what we call power law. Power law. Or you can also call it exponent law. Exponent law. Now with this exponent law, let me give you an example. If you have a raised to the power n, then bracket close n. When we have a raised to the power n, then bracket close the another exponent n, what do? We normally multiply the exponents together. So we are going to get a raised to the power n times what? M, which will give us a raised to the power n m. So for instance, if you are being given 2 raised to the power 3, bracket close 2. So what do you have? So we are going to multiply the exponents what? Together, which we are going to get 2 raised to the power 3 times what? 2, which will give us 2 raised to the power 6. And then your final answer goes. So today we discussed about indices and the laws of what? Indices. Now, we said we have 3 laws: the product law, the quotient law, and the exponent or power law. Thank you very much. Please, when you see this video, please share it for me and then subscribe to my YouTube account, Facebook, what have you. And then please don't forget to leave your comments over there. Thank you.